You're watching Underdog Gaming, here with the beginner's guide for Frost. Frost is a strong keep-away character with far-reaching normals and devastating projectiles. To start things off, let's talk about her best attack strings. Blood, Sweat, and Circuits is fast and knocks the opponent far away for more zoning, so if you like being at full screen, this attack string is for you. However, in my opinion, Frozen in Time is a little bit better. Not only is it safer on block, but it leaves the opponent a bit closer as well, allowing you to go for mix-ups and pressure the opponent on wake up. Blizzard is a damaging mid combo that knocks the opponent pretty far away and is safe on block as well, so it's great to throw out in the neutral if you're not quite sure what to do. The second hit is also special cancelable, though it's not safe on block, so be careful when using it. One True Warrioress is fast and does decent damage, plus it puts the opponent at full screen, so once again, really great for zoning. However, in my opinion, No Humility is a bit better. It leaves the opponent closer and has a low mix-up to boot, so it's great for pressuring the opponent and tricky to block as well. Combine this string with her Blade Barrage and you have an overhead 50-50 mix-up, and your opponent won't be sure how to block. Out Cold has fantastic range and is +1 on block as well, and to make things even better, it also has a crushing blow on counter hit or as a punish. However, the move is a bit slow, so I don't see it punishing many attacks. However, it is quite good at getting counter hits from further away. Freezing Point is a very interesting string. The first hit has really weird range and it's a high attack, so it's not very easy to hit unless you're right in the opponent's face. Now the string itself does have several mix-ups and does really good damage as well, so in the corner it can be a pretty good way to start off combos, since it does have the mix-ups and does pretty good damage. Low overhead is certainly tough to block, however the full string is unsafe, so the opponent can punish you for doing it. Out of all the attack strings that Frost has at her disposal, I find myself using this one the least. Reborn is your go-to combo starter, and to make things even better, it starts off with a low attack, so it's a decent mix-up. Now do be warned, the final hit is actually punishable by the opponent, but the first two hits are not. So if the first two attacks land, feel free to finish the string, but if they don't, back off and take your turn to block. And last but not least, we have Isolated. This attack is pretty dang good for ending combos or even extending combos in the corner. However, in the neutral at around mid-screen, I don't find very many uses for it. The opponent falls very quickly, so you can't really special cancel after it unless the opponent's near the corner. So even though it does do very good damage, it's not really that useful even during combos unless the opponent's close to the corner. That's about it for Frost's attack strings. Since Frost relies on low attacks to start most of her combos, you'll want to use a lot of short hops to scare the opponent into standing up. You can also use her Arctic Barrage for this as well. This attack hits overhead, so it's great for training the opponent to stand up. Now let's move on to Frost's special moves next. Core Discharge hits mid and has several distances. By default, it hits about here. However, if you hold back during the attack, it hits a bit closer. And if you hold forward, it's about full screen. It's also a bit slower as well, so after firing it from full screen, you can move forward and start doing some stuff. The main point of this attack is zoning, which is why it has so many different distances. It's also good for controlling airspace as well. Now unfortunately, you can't really special cancel into it, as the opponent will get up a bit after they explode, so they're not really good for that. However, in the neutral, they're still a pretty darn good zoning tool. Blade Spin is a very interesting attack. It's actually safe on block, so it's pretty good for ending your attack strings if the opponent is standing up. However, if they duck, it is a high attack and they have all day to uppercut you. And if this attack lands, you can enhance it for a bit more damage and Frost walks forward, pushing the opponent a little bit closer to the corner. So if you want a bit more damage and to push the opponent a bit closer to the corner, feel free to spin that meter. Cryo Stance is a pretty decent projectile and it always fires too. Now they are high attacks, so the opponent can duck under them. That's where the enhancement comes in. Spin one bar and you fire a bunch of follow-up projectiles. 4 more to be exact, and that's all a true combo. So if the first two connect, the rest will all connect as well for some pretty decent damage. And unlike the first two, these follow-ups cannot be ducked under. The opponent basically does have to deal with them. It's honestly a very strong projectile. Cyberhead is a decent anti-air, and also great for starting corner combos without spending any meter. It also does a pretty darn good amount of damage as well, so make sure not to underestimate the power of this move. And that's about it for her base special moves, so next up let's talk about the special moves you can equip. Ice Quake can only be done in the air, but it's pretty darn fast and does decent damage as well. You can also do it after a jumping attack. This can trick the opponent if they don't want to block 2 attacks from the air, and if they both land, it's some pretty decent damage. You can even use this move to end corner combos, though I don't recommend it as the damage you get isn't optimal. Even so, I think this move can be a great way to fake a retreat because you jump backwards and then as you're in the air, attack them. The opponent thinks you're trying to escape, but nope, you're still going on the offensive. It's certainly pretty good for that. Augur Lunge is one of my favorite moves that Frost has. It's very fast and covers a very good amount of the screen. It's one of your best way to end combos in most situations, and if you want to spin the meter, you get a bit extra damage and carry the opponent much closer to the corner. Which is a good thing because Frost has some pretty good corner combos even without spending any meter. If you land the enhanced version 3 times, then your next attack will Crushing Blow, allowing you to extend the combo without spending any meter. Once again, this attack is honestly just so useful overall. And speaking of corner combos, we have a Microburst. Now by default, this move doesn't seem very good, though it is a mid attack, so the opponent can't duck under it. However, when you spin the bar is when this move gets pretty interesting. Now for mid screen, you can't really get much after this, but in the corner, this move opens up tons of corner combo possibilities. So if you're a player like myself who just loves combos, you definitely want this move. Cryogenic Crown is a fantastic zoning tool. It hits mid and freezes the opponent solid, giving you plenty of time to close the distance and start a combo. This attack is also great for ending combos as well, since your opponent now has to block it as they're getting up, because if they try to attack, they'll be restanded for a full combo. Arctic Barrage does great damage and hits overhead as well. It's a bit slower on startup, but still a great way to end most combos, and if you want to spin some meter, it does even more damage and ends with a sneaky low attack, making it an even more deadly mix-up. On top of Augur Lunge, this attack is also one of my favorites. It's a damaging way to end combos and provides a decent mix-up as well, especially when used to end combos that would normally end in a low. Ice Augur is a mid-hitting projectile that does decent damage. If you want a Crushing Blow, then hit the attack at its maximum range. It gives a little bit extra damage and pushes the opponent further away. If you want to spin some meter, you fire 2 projectiles instead of just 1, so a bit more damage and it knocks the opponent down. Core Trap is really interesting. If the opponent stays inside of this, they will eventually freeze and it's unblockable. They also take damage the entire time as well, so it's great for setups and great for pressuring the opponent and making them uneasy. And since it freezes the opponent, it's also a good combo starter as well. And like many other zoning abilities, this attack can be angled as well, so by default, it's about here. If I hold back, it's a bit closer, and if you hold forward, it goes further. So it's a fantastic tool for pressuring the opponent and starting combos as well. However, it does take up 2 slots and costs 1 bar of offense to use, so it's not quite as overpowered as it might seem initially. Glacier Calving will absorb an incoming projectile, so it can be good for countering the opponent's keep away. And if you want to spin the bar, this shield will stay out for much longer and move towards the opponent. It's honestly not worth the meter in my opinion, and this move overall I don't find very useful either. Core Overload gives Frost a damage buff to her attacks. Now right now it's a bit buggy. I didn't notice a damage buff right away. That might be fixed when the game finally launches, but it is supposed to give you a damage buff. Now if you want to spin the bar, you get a bit longer of a damage buff, and eventually Frost will actually detonate, doing damage to the opponent. And this can also stop the opponent from hitting you as well. And last but not least, we have Frost's Fatal Blow. This thing is nuts. It hits from full screen. The only downside is it does switch sides, so if you have the opponent cornered and this won't kill, it might not be your best option. However, for any situation outside of that, it has fantastic range, 1 hit of armor, and it's pretty fast on startup as well. Definitely a great complement to Frost's keep away style. Overall, Frost is great at using her long range attacks to whiff punish the opponent. And if you do want to get close, she has some good low attacks to trick the opponent and start combos. Just remember to use lots of short hops to keep them guessing. That's about it for the beginner's guide everyone. Please enjoy the combo guide and leave a like down below if you enjoyed. And while you're down there, why not subscribe to keep that combo going? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.